Now the next question, this question was asked in 2013. Now the question is said that with reference to National Legal Service Authority, consider the following statement. So the topic National Legal Service Authority we have already done related to this questions. This question has been asked on the base of this concept. So again the question, we can say that the concept is repeated, not the same question, but the concept is repeated in the examinations. So the conditions related to National Legal Service Authority, and this has been empowered through the Article 39A that allows the government or empower the government to provide free legal aid. And to provide free legal aid, the government has come up with the National Legal Service Authority. Now let's see the statements given to the National Legal Service Authority. So first said, its objective is to provide free and competent legal services. Yes, this is true. To the weaker section of society. Yes, it is true. So the its objective is to provide free and competent legal service. Competent means the advocate or lawyer practicing advocate should be a competent, should not should be competent, and then it should be provided to the weaker section of society on the basis of equal opportunity. Yes, the main objective of this is to provide an equal opportunity in terms of representing the case of an the person who is weak, having an weaker sections in terms of economic. So this is the first one is correct, and we need to find which of the statement given is or are correct. So first is correct. Now the first correct means this cannot be our answer and this cannot be our answer. So either A or B can be the answer, A or C can be the answer. Now if we see the second statement, so it says that it issues guidelines for the state legal service authorities to implement the legal programs and schemes throughout the countries. Now if you see the logical behind this, if we go through the logical, so we can say that this is a program to enhance or empower the weaker sections to for in the judiciary for the equal opportunity. But this also requires an awareness, that everyone should be aware that the government is running such programs, and the government is allowing the constitutions, the highest land law of the land is authorizing or empowering the people to get a free legal services, aid services, if they are not in a capable. For that they need to be get aware, knowledgeable. So it is a responsibility of the government to aware them. Now how they can be aware? So it can be aware through the state legal service authority, how they can implement this legal programs and schemes. So this, on the basis of logical, it seems it's also true. So this, for to answer this questions, this is, we can say this is a concept and a fact based question. So this fact based question, this is this two of the statement can be answered on the basis of logic if we have some background related to knowledge, background related to National Legal Service Authority. Clear? So both of the statement is true in this questions. Now if you see the what is National Legal Service, we have already been discussed in the previous discussions. So यहाँ पर हम उसे देखें, थोड़ा और extensive discussions देखें related to this. So the National Legal Service Authority is a statutory body. Why? Because it has been made by the parliamentary law, established under the Legal Service Authority Act 1987. The aim of ensuring access to justice for all, especially the marginalized and weaker section of the society. So aim of the National Legal Service Authority is to giving ensuring access to justice for all. To whom? Especially to the marginalized and weaker section of society. Now if you see its objective, if you see its objectives is to provide free and competent legal services to weaker section of the society on basis of equal opportunity. This has been directly asked in the statement. So this is true. Now, National Legal Service Authority primary objective is to provide free legal aid to disadvantaged group including poor, women, children, scheduled caste, scheduled tribes and other vulnerable section of society. It strives to ensure equal access to justice for all individuals irrespective of their financial status and work towards the promotion of legal awareness among this group. So this the prime objective is to provide legal services, free legal services, and also is to make legal awareness among this group, right? So this NALSA, National Service Authority, issues guidelines, rules, and protocols to the State Legal Service Authority, which are responsible for implementing legal aid services at the state levels. NALSA plays a crucial role in coordinating and overseeing the executions of legal services schemes across the country, ensuring consistency and uniformity in providing legal assistance. So we can say that the NALSA is also playing an observer role who is overseeing the work done by the state legal service authority and how making ensuring the consistency uniformity in providing legal assistance. So this was the questions asked in 2013. Clear? Now let's move to the next questions. So the next question asked in 2012. Now the question says, consider the following provisions under the directive principle of state policies as enshrined in the constitutions. Securing of citizen of India a uniform civil code, this is given under Article 44. Organizing village panchayat, Article 40. Promoting cottage and industries in rural areas, this is Article 43. Securing for all workers reasonable leisure and cultural opportunities, this is also Article 43. So these are the articles or provisions of directive principles. Now the question says, which of the above are the Gandhian principles that are reflected in directive principle of state policies? So this is basically asking about the Gandhian principles under the directive principle of state policies, which comes under the Gandhian principles. So before answering these questions, let's discuss that the DPSP has three bifurcations or three divisions. The provisions of DPSP has three divisions on the basis of principles. The first principle is a socialist principle. Socialist principles. So there are certain provisions which comes under the socialist principles. The second is a Gandhian principles. Gandhian principles. The ideas of Gandhiji during the national movement was included under the Gandhian principles. And the third is liberal intellectual principles. So these are the three bifurcations made or divisions we can say on the basis of principles of the provisions given under the DPSP is made of the socialist, Gandhian and liberal intellectuals. Now if we see the Gandhian principles, so the Gandhian thoughts or political thoughts of the Gandhiji discussed under the provisions, that is Gandhiji is more prone to the rural economy. He is more to the rural economy. He says that the true India lies in rural. True India lie in rural areas, right? So the economy related to the local self-government, or he is more to the empowering panchayat system, that is a village panchayat, local system, is always to the local or rural area. So if we see the provisions with this, that the second says organizing village panchayat. So it is true, this comes under the Gandhian principles. Now if you see the securing of a citizens for uniform civil code, this article 44 is not related to the Gandhiji, on the logic of this also we can say that the Gandhiji is always of the Sarvbhav, Sandhabh, that he always believe in religious freedom. So this cannot be come under the Gandhian principles on the logic also, because it is calling for the uniform civil code, means that every religion has to run according to the law, not according to the customs, whereas the Gandhiji is believer that the religion should be run or everyone should be free to follow their own customs. So the first cannot, on the logic basis also, it cannot be comes under the Gandhian principles. So if we go to the eliminations, if we go with the elimination method, so this cannot be our answer, this cannot be our answer, and this cannot be our answer. So if we are left with the only one option, that is B, that is organizing village panchayat and promoting cottage industries in rural areas. So Gandhiji is all about the rural economies. Gandhiji is all about the empowering the rural people, because he is of a policy of that true India lies in rural areas. So the answer to this question is 2 and 3. Now if we see all the divisions of on the basis of principles, the provisions of DPSP divided. So first is socialist or welfare principles. So they laid down the frameworks of democratic socialist state aims at providing social and economic justice and set the path toward welfare states. So the provisions which were responsible for the welfare states and the provisions which were responsible for providing social and economic justice are kept under the socialist and welfare principles, like the Article 38 to promote the welfare of people by securing a social order permeated by justice, social, economic, and political, and to minimize inequalities in income, status, facilities, and opportunity. Article Article 39 to secure the right to adequate means of livelihood for citizens, the equitable distribution of material resource of the community for common good, prevention of concentration of wealth and means of productions, equal pay for equal work for men and women, preservation of health and strength of workers and children against possible abuse and opportunities for healthy development of children. Then Article 39A promote equal justice and to provide free legal aid to poor. Article 41 to secure the right to work, right to education, right to public assistance in case of unemployment, old age, sickness, disablement. Article 42 to make provisions for just and human conditions of work and maternity relief. Article 43 to secure a living wage, a decent standard of life, and social and cultural opportunities for all workers. Article 43A to take steps to secure the participations of workers in management of industries. Article 47 Article 47 is to raise the level of nutrition standard of living of poor and to improve public health. So all these policies, provisions of directive principles of state policies are to establish an welfare state. So these provisions helping the government in achieving the objective or the constitutions to establish a welfare states. Now next, if you see the Gandhian principles, so Gandhian principle represents the program of reconstructions and enunciated by the Gandhiji during the national movement. In order to fulfill the dream of Gandhiji, some of his ideas were included into the directive principles. The first, like Article 40, it says that to organize village panchayat and endow them with necessary powers and authority to enable them to function as units of self-government. Article 43 to promote cottage industries on an individual and corporations basis in rural areas. Article 43B to promote voluntarily formations, autonomous functionings, democratic control and professional management of cooperative societies. Article 46 to promote the educational and economic interest of scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, and other weaker section of the society and to protect them from social injustice and exploitations. Article 47 to prohibit the consumption of intoxicating drinks and drugs which are injurious to health. Article 48 to prohibit the slaughter of cows, calves, and other milch and draught cattle and to improve their breeds. So if you carefully analyze these provisions of the directive principle of state policy, so we come to a notice that issues, all the issues which were near to the Gandhiji, like intoxicating ban of, he is always opposed to alcohol, drugs. So he's not in a favor of alcohol or drugs, is not in a favor of intoxicating, so that has to be eliminated, that kept under this. He is always in favor of empowering the rural economy. He has always been a man of rural. He always says that the original India lies in the heart of rural. So that functions is always he's always looking for the empowering the backward classes like SC and ST. He is always against the caste based systems. Right. So these are the provisions which were inculcated into the Gandhian philosophy and the directive principle of state policies. Clear? Now if you see the next divisions on the basis of principles, so the last one is the liberal intellectual principles. So the principles included in this category represents the ideology of liberalisms. Now, it includes Article 44 to secure for all citizens a uniform civil code throughout the country. Article 45 to provide early childhood care and education for all children until they completed the age of 6 years. Article 48 to organize agriculture and animal husbandry on modern and scientific lines. Article 48A to protect and improve the environment and to safeguard forest and wildlife. Article 49 to protect monuments, places, and objects of artistic or historic interest which are declared to be national importance. Article 50 to separate the judiciary from the executive in public service of state. Article 51 to promote international peace and security and maintain just and honorable relations between nations, to foster respect for international law and treaty obligations, and to encourage settlement for international disputes by arbitrations. So these are the principles which were divide, or there is a divisions on a basis of principles of the directive principle of state policies. So the questions on the divisions of directive principle of state policies was asked in 2012. Clear? So this is the directive principles. Now in this series we have also included along with the directive principles, which is a small topic of an fundamental duties. So in this also we will discuss the questions, that there are four questions from the directive principles, fundamental duties has been asked over the years. So in this also we will start discussion of fundamental duties. So let's start the discussions. So the one question was asked in 2017. So the question says, which of the following statements is or are true of the fundamental duties of Indian citizens? So it is basically about asking about the fundamental duties. So it says the first statement says a legislative process has been provided to enforce this duty. They are correlative to legal duties. Select the correct answer. So we need to find the true statement. So to before answer these questions, let's see the fundamental duties, a basic concept of fundamental duties. So this fundamental duties contained in part 4A of the constitutions under article 51A. Now these two parts were added through the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act 1976, recommended by the Swarn Singh Committee. Formed by Indira Gandhi government, right? And this has drawn on the inspiration from USSR. Now if you see the fundamental duties, it is like DPSP, and unlike fundamental rights are non-justiciable part, right? So it is a non-justiciable part. It is available only to citizens of India, only to citizens. citizens of India, not to the foreigners. Are getting my point, right? So this, now if we go to the statement, so it says a legal process has been provided to enforce this duty. No, this cannot be the true. Why? Because it is a non-justiciable. So no one can force the citizen, not the state, not the state can force the citizens to force the citizens to follow the duty. So through legislations, through even law also, through even law or legislations. So this is not true. They are correlative to legal duties. No, they are not related to legal duties. Clear? So they are the primary goal of this fundamental duties is a moral duty or ethical duty, not a legal duty. So this is not related to legal duties. So both of this statement are neither one nor two are correct. Clear? Why it is not correct? Because it is a non-justiciable right. So we a non-justiciable duty. So we can say that if it is non-justiciable, so the state cannot enforce them through the law by providing law, and they are different from the legal duties. The correlative means it can say that they are different from the legal duties. Why? Because because the nature of, if we talk about the nature of legal duty, so these duties are legal in their nature, whereas the fundamental duties are moral and ethical in their nature. Moral and ethical in their nature. So they are not legal. It means this legal duties are mandatory to follow, but these are not mandatory. And because being a non-justiciable, so it also said it is not legal, it cannot be enforced, but this has to be enforced. So this is a not correlative, there is no relations between fundamental duties and legal duties. Is it clear? Okay. So if you see certain explanations to this question, so it says that fundamental duties are not enforceable in court of law. Parliament has not provided penalties or punishment for impositions of fundamental duties. Yes, it cannot do that. Swansingh committee recommended inclusion of a provisions whereby Parliament can impose punishment for non-compliance of fundamental duties. This was the recommendation of the Swansingh committee, that the Parliament should impose the duties, but the government has not accepted this recommendations. However, this recommendation was not accepted, and hence there is no provisions for enforcement of fundamental duties inculcated into the part 4a of the constitutions. Though this provisions was the recommendations under the Swanson committee has recommended it, that it should become an imposition mandatory, that the parliament can enforce them through law. But the while accepting the recommendation incorporating into the constitutions, the second part of the recommendation was not accepted by the government. Clear? Fundamental duties are primarily moral and ethical in nature, not directly correlated to legal duties. There is no correlations of fundamental duties with legal duties, because legal duties are mandatory in nature, whereas the fundamental duties are ethical and moral in nature. Is it clear? So hope this has now clarified why the both of the statement given are incorrect. Okay. Now let's move to the next question. So next question was asked in 2015. Now this says, to uphold and protect the sovereignty, unity and integrity of India is a provisions made in. So to uphold and protect the sovereignty, unity and integrity of India is provision made in preamble of the constitutions. No, preamble of the constitution does not talk about the to uphold. It only says, it talks about the nature of Indian states, objective of the Indian state we have seen this, so this cannot be answered. Directive principle of state policies, not, this is an principles or guideline to the government, rights enjoyed to the by the individuals, right? But this is something like a duty. It is claiming that to uphold and protect sovereignty and unity and integrity of India, it is a duty. So we can say that this incorporated into the fundamental duties, that is part 4A under Article 51A of the Constitutions. So if we see the fundamental duties incorporated under 51A, so it says that it shall be the duty of every citizens of India, first, to abide by the constitutions and respect its ideals and institutions, the national flag and national anthem. Second, to cherish and follow the noble ideas that inspired the national struggle for freedom. Third, to uphold and protect that sovereignty, unity, and integrity of India. This was directly asked in the statement. Next, to defend the country and render national service when called upon to do so. Next, the promote harmony and the spirit of common brotherhood among all the people of India, transcending religious, linguistic, regional, or sectional diversities, and to renounce practice derogatory to the dignity of women. So it means it is asking the citizens to respect the dignity of women. It is a duty. Next, to value and preserve the rich heritage of country's composite culture. Next, to protect and improve the natural environment, including forest, lakes, rivers, wildlife, and to have compassion for living creature. Next, to develop the scientific temper, humanisms, and spirit of inquiry and reforms. Next, to safeguard public property and to abjure violence. Next, to strive towards excellence in all sphere of individuals and collective activities, so that the nation constantly rise to higher level of endeavors and achievements. Next, to provide opportunities for education to children. This was added by the 86th Constitutional Amendment Act 2002, especially stating that the parents or guardians should ensure education for their children below the age of 6 and 14 years. So through this, the last which was added through Amendment Act, we can say that the fundamental duties is only once been amended through the 86th Constitutional Amendment Act. That was done under 2006. It is similarly, this was similar that through this act an article 21A was added to fundamental right, that is right to education. This right to education has also included duties to the parents and guardians, that it is their responsibilities to provide opportunity for their children between 6 to 14 years along with the fundamental rights. Is it clear? Okay. Now let's move to the next questions. So next question was asked in 2012. Now this question says that which one of the following is or are among the fundamental duties of citizens laid down in the Indian constitutions. Again, this is the question was asked from the duties, directly the duties. So through this we can say that duties has to be remembered. So everyone should remember the duties given under the Article 51, and to remember there is no need to mugging up, just revise or revisit as many time as you can go through. So through the questions also you can revise, and if you apply certain logic, so through that also we can mark the answer or correct answer of the sections, right? So we need to find that which among the given statement laid down in constitution under fundamental duties. The first, to preserve rich heritage of our composite culture. Yes, we have currently seen. To protect weaker section for social injustice. No, this is not the duties of an Indian, rather it is a duty of government. It is not a duty of citizens to protect weaker section from social justice. So we need to apply some logic that the fundamental duties is related to citizens. It is not to the state government. But the second statement says that to protect the weaker section from social injustice, this is a responsibility of the government to protect, right? So two cannot be our answer. So if we see the options, if we use the elimination method, so here we can see that the A cannot be answer, B cannot be answer, and D cannot be answer. So our answer is C, that is 1, 3 and 4. Let's see the third. To develop scientific temper and spirit inquiry. Yes, it is true. To strive toward excellence in all sphere of individuals and collective activities. Yes, it is also true. So why the second is not? Because the duty to protect weaker section is the duty of the government, not an individuals or a citizens. And if we see all these three has been mentioned under Article 51A, The F writes that to value and preserve the rich heritage of the country's composite culture. The duties under the H to develop the scientific temper, humanism, and spirit of inquiries and reforms. And J to strive towards excellence in all sphere of individuals and collective activity so that the nation constantly rise to higher level of endeavors and achievements. Clear? So this was asked in 2012. Now if you see the next questions. So next question was asked in 2011. So it says that under the Constitution of India, which one of the following is not a fundamental duties? So again, the question is directly from the duties that we have to answer from under Article 51A. So it see the first, to vote in a public elections, to develop scientific temper, to safeguard public property, to abide the constitutions and respect its idea. This is our duty, fundamental duty. This is a safeguard public property. Yes, it is our fundamental duties. It is a developed duty, a scientific temper. It is our fundamental duties. The vote in public election. This is our duties, but not a fundamental duties. But not fundamental duties. This is our responsibility, but it is not a fundamental duty. So A cannot. So A is our answer, which is not a fundamental duty under the constitutions, right? So if we see under Article 51A, the first duty says to abide by the constitution and respects its ideals and institutions, the national flag and the national anthem. Then H, to develop scientific temper, humanism, and spirit of inquiry and reform. I, to safeguard public property and to abjure violence. All of these were the fundamental duties, whereas to vote in public election is our duty but not a fundamental duty, or we can say this is our responsibility. Is clear? So this is all from the sections directive principle of state policies and fundamental duties. So hope you like the video. Hope this will help to add in your help in your preparations, help you to revise easily, help you to understand, help you to analyze the previous year paper. So please like, subscribe, and comment on this video. Thank you.